What's up? Mac, what's going on? How's it going? I'm gonna raise my desk for the stream. Now it's gonna be way high. It's gonna be weird. I don't have a guest today and I don't have Amy. I haven't streamed by myself, I feel like, in forever. What's up, Goose? Rise. That's right. What are y'all up to? Anything fun? Artificial. Oh, that's a cool name. Do I use Vim? I like started to for a little while. So I use um the Vim extension in VS Code, and I could see it being really powerful. Like I kind of doubt I'm really going to go through like the effort of getting good enough to really take advantage of it because I'm already really good at shortcuts in VS Code by default. Um, so I tried it for a little while. The big thing is it would be really hard for content. So it's one of the reasons that I don't use GitHub Copilot as well, because I end up recording so much content that if you do something like totally different that people aren't used to, it like takes away from the learning process. So I don't use Copilot because it's hard to teach when Copilot's doing everything for you when you record videos. And then if I were to use Vim, like I think people would kind of freak out at like shortcuts and not understanding all the things that I'm doing at times. So no, I don't. I know lots of people that do and they love it. Feel free to share, like if you use Vim or not. Feel free to share that in the chat. Whatever your opinion is. If you love it, hate it, whatever. Feel free to share. Um, Understandable. Have a good day. Oh, see, that was it. That just the. Hopefully you don't leave. You hang out with us for a little bit. Goose, the Twitter employment drama. I like am a little overwhelmed at thinking about that. To be honest, it's been it's been really wild couple of months. Like I feel like I hear about a new friend every couple of days that has been let go from a company, which is what I went through over the summer in July. And I talked about this in the talk that I just gave at um not that conference, at All Things Open, which went amazing. I felt so good about that talk, and I kind of addressed like the way I was able to leverage my network and brand and stuff to find opportunities, but then also go full time myself. And that's not something that is guaranteed for everybody. So yeah, it's really rough. It sucks. Roshan, what's up on YouTube? Mage Prometheus, what's up as well? Goose Man says has been using them for 8 years. That's cool. Marcus Lyons not using it at the moment, but learning it. Cool. Marcus, is there any specific resource that you're going through to learn that? And I think Mac, did you try a Twitch interaction? It's funny once you get out of the habit of streaming for a while, like you just forget to do all the things. I can start my bot up. We'll potentially have code depending on what we do for the next hour, depending on what y'all want to do. So we potentially have code. So there could be like that interaction. And then the other interaction would be the lights. So there are commands if you're on Twitch, not on YouTube. You can run a command to turn the lights on back here and change them to a random color. So feel free to do that if you want. Should be open now. Eddie on YouTube, what's up? Brian Robinson, we just chatted this morning about some potential collaboration content work. So I'm excited about that. Marcus, you have Joe Previtt's Vim for VS Code course. Awesome. That's what I was gonna recommend. If you weren't already using that, I was gonna specifically call that out for you to use. So that's good. I'm gonna shift some screens around in preparation for actually potentially sharing my screen. I don't know exactly what we'll do. Because I don't have a plan today. We usually do our live episode of the podcast on Fridays, and unfortunately, Michael Leendo at AWS, amazing person. He just isn't able to make it, so we had to reschedule. And Amy's out of town, so for better or for worse, you just got me today. So what we can do, if anybody like what I was working on code wise before this was some of the automated cover images for the podcast, so I could pull that up and we could work on that. Also, I'm totally open to just do like Q&A and talk and all that kind of stuff. So you have any questions, career or code or anything, just let me know. So that was one of the things I was going to do is let me share my screen. I'll pull up a couple of links. Present, share screen, and this screen. Cool. So Daily.dev, by the way, just went live on Product Hunt. It's an awesome extension. You should check it out. They have been a sponsor of the podcast for a while, so that's really cool. Mac mentioned advent of Vue.com. So Amy and I started an advent series last year, advent of JavaScript and advent of CSS. So if you're interested in either one of those, here's the JavaScript one. And then I think you could probably figure out the CSS link from there if you just change CSS to or JS to CSS. But this is cool, Mac. So how is it going? So you've got a bunch of different people doing stuff. Do you already have like are those things already like worked on? Are those challenges already ready? What's the update on that? And then we mentioned Joe Previtt, TypeScript engineer. Or no, not TypeScript. He is like doing a bunch of TypeScript now. We are talking about his Vim course. The Vim for VS Code? Yes, Vim for VS Code from yeah, Marcus, you got the link in there as well. And then let me grab the link for Advent of Vue in case people are curious. So this will be an Advent calendar of Vue challenges shipping starting December 1st. You'll get a challenge every day for 24 days leading up to Christmas. Eddie asked on YouTube, let me go back to just my screen. How do I learn to build stuff the right way without relying on tons of courses? The big thing here is like literally just build stuff on your own. Like you have to take the crutches off, you have to take the training wheels off. And I wouldn't necessarily like, especially early in your career, I think like focusing on building stuff the right way is a little less of the concern. Like obviously you'd like to be getting better and better, etc. But I would say like a little bit less about building stuff the right way per se, and just give yourself the opportunity to go and build stuff without the crutches and the training wheels of an actual course. There's just a drastic difference, and like anyone can follow a course, they can copy the code, they can have the exact same demo in their portfolio, etc. But the real struggle is going and building that thing on your own. And I've seen this over and over again with developers. They're trying to get old shop talk motto, just build websites. Yeah, 100%. But I've seen this over and over again with people going through boot camp. They do well through assignments, then they have an open assignment to build something on their own, and they freak out and don't know what to do. You need to put yourself in that position. You need to put yourself to start from scratch with no assistance. No assistance meaning like you're not following someone else's tutorial. Assistance, absolutely, in the sense of going like Google stuff, right? Like we do that every single day. I've been Googling stuff this morning. So yeah, like I would focus a little bit less on building stuff, quote unquote, the right way. I would focus 100% on just building stuff, and you'll get better and figuring out more of the right ways, just the more you do it. Fearless for him on YouTube says, I'm currently taking Colt Seal's Web Developer Bootcamp 2022. That is hands down the most amazing course that is out there. Should I finish that course before starting your Everything Svelte course? So two things here. One, I'm not going to selfishly tell you to leave that course to come and do mine. We also are still releasing content. So I think you've got time before all the content is released anyway, which will probably be a better onboarding experience. The other thing I would mention is big recommendation of mine is to make sure you finish something before starting another one. A lot of people like to have a bunch of different resources, follow too much, get distracted, and not like get as much out of any individual one. So I recommend doing one thing at a time, one big thing at a time. So for that reason, I would probably focus on the Web Developer Bootcamp course first and finish that. Now, finish doesn't necessarily mean you've done every video. Finish means you finished that resource to get the things out of it that you wanted. So if you've gone through the course and there's some extra videos and you're like, I don't feel like I need those, fine, move on. But I would say finish that to whatever extent you need to, and then go on to Everything Svelte. But super glad that you're interested in that. Mage, I retired and then didn't touch JavaScript or C++ for 3 years. Been playing with Rust and set up a home recording studio. That's exciting. Need to catch up a bit now to create a few Obsidian plugins. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, that's super cool. I'd love to see the recording setup. If you, on wherever you can find me on Twitter, send me a DM or tag me or something with a picture of your setup. I'd love to see that. Facundo, ¿qué pasa? ¿Cómo estás? No nos vamos a ver en San Francisco. No voy a asistir esa conferencia, pero yo voy al Modern Frontends en London en 2 semanas. So Facundo asked if I was going to see him in San Francisco. I will not see him in San Francisco. I'm assuming he's asking about Jamstack Conf, which I'm super sad and yeah, just sad to be missing out on. But I just got too many things going on. I just got back from All Things Open literally yesterday. I am going to Modern Front Ends in 2 weeks in London, which I'm super excited about. I think you'll be there, Facundo. So hopefully I'll see you there. But Amy will be at Jamstack Conf. So make sure to go and say hey to her if you see her. Let's see. Lost air bills when you were able to get your first job. How well would you say your skill set was at the time, and what languages? Oh, this is a very interesting question. My programming skills from a computer science perspective sucked. So any interview that I would have had that would have actually asked me computer science fundamentals that I should have known, I bombed. Specific one with Asurion that I had in Nashville, and they asked me like the difference between a class and an interface. A little bit like that's a computer science background interview question, but I bombed. Like I just didn't know the things that I should have. So my skills, quite honestly, coming out of college, not that great. My overall knowledge, not that great. The big thing I had going for me was I had built an Android app. I was really curious. So I like learned what I could to build a Harry Potter trivia app, and that was the thing that I talked about in a lot of my interviews. So that carried a lot of weight for what it's worth. Plan about Next.js 13. I don't know, to be honest. Like I would like to do an update video for people. There's probably already been a bunch of those. Doesn't mean I won't do one, but honestly, just like everyone else, like I struggle to keep up with all the changes and things. So I know it's there. I don't have any immediate plans to create a big piece of content around it. Maybe what I'll do is more of a reaction video to reading the blog post and sharing that. So that might do well. But yeah, that's kind of where I am for now. I'm catching up on chat, by the way. Again, super excited to hang out with people here in the chat. Anyone have advice for getting better at Ligma stack? That's a new one for me. So artificial, if you can clarify what that is, I would appreciate that. You guys can all I laugh every time I say that. James, how you been? Been good. Just got back, like I said, from All Things Open. I feel like I did really well on my talk. Got some really good feedback, which I was like super, super excited about. So that felt like a big step for me. Think you should learn the BOFA stack. Maybe are these jokes or are these real stacks? Because I don't know that. Highly recommend Ben Myers show my chat. Let's see. Let's see. Show my dot chat. Sorry, I'm behind in chat, but it's active, which is good. Show my dot chat. Instant theme Twitch chat overlays. Yeah, so here's one of the difficulties with this for me. That's great, and there's lots of different ways to get Twitch chat on the stream. The problem with me now is I backed out of the affiliate program in Twitch so that I could stream to YouTube at the same time because I've got a bigger audience there. I would like to connect more with the people that watch my video content on YouTube. And so now I have chat coming in from both places, so I wouldn't want to like add both of them here and that get a little confusing. So I also am debating about even continuing with Twitch. So Jason Linksdorf gave me this advice: like if YouTube is going to be my main one of the two, I might should just do one and not get distracted with the other. That also means that I would lose like some of the interactions that I have on Twitch, which may be perfectly fine, or it may not. I haven't really decided yet. Jose, any tips dealing with TypeScript and Node fetch? I'm having a hard time finding answers. Jose, I'm not sure. I maybe if you had like if you want to join the Learn Build Teach Discord and ask the question there and show if you're not already and share specifics of what's going on. Please do that. I'd love to see what's going on and see if we can figure it out. But I don't know the answer to that right offhand. What's up, James? Hope you got some good rest after All Things Open. What's up? Yeah, I'm doing good. I actually got home early yesterday, so I got to get on an earlier flight getting home. And my wife and I, who's sitting here, we went to lunch and got ice cream, and I went to bed early last night, which was good. So, Mr. Blonde says thanks for all you do. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, James. Good vibes. I like it. It doesn't show up very well, but I appreciate that. Yeah, somebody answer like I'm just catching up on oh, did I say something inappropriate? I think did I get caught? Okay. That's not cool if that's what that was. And I don't have anyone like moderating stuff. I don't know. Okay. I don't know exactly what the stack thing was. So if that was inappropriate, please don't do that again or I will kick you out of the chat. It's hard to keep up with so many comments and stuff. Cynthia said, I like your reaction videos. I shared this video with my students. I imagine that was the one that I just published. Reaction to an article. I think I want to do more of that. It's like it's an easy form of content for me. It's a way also for me to give some promotion to other creators to like share their stuff and then get to respond and kind of share my thoughts on the topic subject. So I kind of like that. I think I might do more of those. Any advice for tech interviews? To what extent DSA is important? So data structures, algorithms, and interviews. How important is that? I asked on Twitter recently. You'll have to go back like a week or two if you want to actually see it. But I asked on Twitter how many people have gone through their tech careers and never done a DSA interview. Tons of people said they'd never done one, which was really interesting. So I think it depends on the type of job, the company, et cetera. So I would say go and do research to figure out for the companies you want to work at, for the places you want to work, the type of job you want, go and see if those companies are doing interviews with data structures and algorithms, because the answer is it will depend on those answers. So, Ryan, how do I create an open source project, start an open source thing? Maybe you have some good. Watch this. I don't actually. I'm not a super good open source guy. There's two things I would recommend though. One on Twitter, you should follow and then potentially tweet at Eddie about this. So I'll put his thing in the chat. Also, another thing I would recommend is that you follow B. Dougie, who is doing his own startup now based on open source like analytics and other things. So a couple of good people to follow. Maybe you can ask them specific questions. Gooseman, StreamYard doesn't allow overlays anyways. That's true. I could like run something local. Like when I do my personal stream, I could go back to OBS and do that sort of stuff, but I don't know if I really want to be honest. No, it has experimental fetch now. You should. Yeah, so only in newer versions. I forget what version fetch can't fetch in Node, like 18 maybe. Finally coming to Node, fetch API. If anybody has an answer to this, feel free to throw it in the chat. I'm assuming this will be in 2008 or the Node 18. So you'd have to have a pretty recent version of Node to be able to do that, which is fine. So just double check that you have access to that if you're trying to use it. Jez on YouTube is learning Svelte. Can try to convince my team to refactor one of our tools from React. I like it. I'd love to hear how that goes if other people enjoy it as well. That'd be a really cool story to share. That would be a great conference talk. I've heard like some people like have thought about speaking at conferences and don't know what to talk about. One of the biggest things is just like learning experiences on the job and like a learning experience of like learning Svelte, also trying to convince people. And then the transition of like having other people adopt Svelte is a big one. That would be, I still don't get the Ligma thing, to be honest. Someone explain that to me later. I kind of lost my train of thought, but never seen someone on Twitch be unfamiliar with that dumb joke. Yeah, I'll be the first. That's fine. You didn't say anything inappropriate. They were trying to set you up. So you either say it or they will. Okay, fine. And I still don't quite understand it. That's fine. What do you think of all the new experimental use stuff in React? Someone asked me about Next.js 13. Similarly, like I am not super up to date on what all is in React 18. So I actually don't know what use is in this case. If anybody wants to add that in here, let's see, React use 18. Does it talk about that in here? That's going to have a lot of, yeah, if you could give me I don't even know where to start with that, to be honest. Can we discuss forming startups being a techie? Also for the open source stuff, please feel free to throw in other names. There's like tons of people that would be great resources. If you have other names of people and resources for getting started in open source, etc., feel free to throw those in the chat for other people to benefit from. Because forming startups, being a techie, maybe you can be more specific. I think one of the coolest things about being a developer is we have the ability to build whatever the hell we want. And a lot of that is the ability to marry up something we have an issue with or a struggle with and our like passion for that with the ability to actually build a thing to solve that problem. So the potential is obviously always there. Yeah, I don't, Bhavesh, if you have like a more specific question, that might be helpful. Hey James, this is Jay on YouTube. Post bootcamp was difficult for me to get an interview, so I settled for a junior activation job. I'd be curious to know what that is. What would be good steps to move forward towards a web dev position? It's like similar advice all over the board. Build a strong portfolio. A strong portfolio would be like 2 projects that you're super proud of that really show off the skills that you think are going to be the things that are going to help you get the job. So if you want to be a front end developer specifically, show really good CSS, animations, JavaScript, etc. If you want to be a full stack developer, show that you built a full stack application with backend database, etc. Whatever type of job, as specific as you can be that you know you want, build something using those technologies and fundamentals. If you don't want to specifically be front end or back end, build a full stack thing and be able to talk about that. Have it deployed for people to see and use if possible. Networking is key. Stay active in communities. Joining streams is a helpful thing. Being in Discords. I've got the Learn, Build, Teach Discord. If somebody wants to throw a link to that, actually, I can do that here. Learn, Build, Teach Discord, I think, is a great place for people to be as they have questions and are learning and looking for jobs, etc. So I highly recommend that. Also, the portfolio project, like the building stuff of that, is the huge learning aspect. So you can go through and follow a bunch of tutorials. You're going to be a much better off eventually if you spend time building your own thing from a learning perspective and then from your portfolio. But continue to network, continue to share on wherever you may do that, whether it's Twitter, social media, blog posts. I think all that stuff is super helpful in one, giving you the ability to reflect on what you've done, also having like a documented thing based on what you've done that you could share with other people. So I'm starting to learn this code in school, and I've been coding since years before that, and I knew everything in the books thanks to the beautiful YouTube tutorials for coding the curriculum for coding. But the curriculum expects you to remember every function. I don't think that's good. I would I would argue that like, especially in interviews, like so I'll give you an example. If you ask me to code something live in an interview, and I'm like, oh, I don't remember what the function name is called. I'm going to tell them that, and I'm going to make up a function name and I'm going to explain how I think that it works, and that should be enough. If it's not enough, they're ridiculous. But like no one expects you to actually memorize every function name and parameter list and all that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself in an interview position in that case, explain to them, I know there is a function that does this. I think it's called this. I think it takes these parameters and it's going to return to me this value. So I'm going to write that code just because I can't remember the right off the top of my head how to do that. TS Node would be of the version that has fetch. Oh, was I confused? I may have said TS Node and fetch. I may have mixed those up. I'm not actually sure about that. Sorry about that if I did. What project should I build for portfolio? Build something that that solves a personal problem or a personal interest. So if you're interested in basketball, build like a basketball stats tracking app. If you're my wife and I golf, so build an app where you can track your golf. So how many swings per hole, what your total score is, what your handicap is, and track all that information with users and previous data, etc. Find something that's going to be fun, that you're going to enjoy, that you'll be excited about. Use the technologies that are going to be worth the most on your resume inside of interviews, etc., and have fun with it. Bhavesh, take on Golang. I haven't used it myself. I know it's getting more and more popular. I think it's like if I were to learn something other than JavaScript at this point, I think it would be Rust or Go. But I haven't done that because I don't need to at this point. But I definitely see more and more about both of those. So if I were to learn one, it would be one of those two. Checking out native fetch, but don't have experience yet. Cynthia talking about built-in fetch. If there's any specific questions, maybe more so um, for sorry, I got distracted. If there, if like you have a specific question, maybe with native fetch, Discord may be a good way to go for that. I got an email from some. Okay, so this is. I was gonna make sure this is appropriate because I didn't know what it was. But I got an email from Mage about their setup, which looks really cool. Are you? I'll try to check the end of the comments, Mage. If you're comfortable with me sharing that on screen, I'll pull it up and share what you sent me. Dun, 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 dun. Right, fetch experimental future of cloud computing. Um, Zaid, hi from India. What's up? Went through the chat, can't find the mysterious stack name. Yeah. Oh, okay. Fearless. I think I. Okay, got it. Forming startups is a very loaded topic. Yeah, I don't really know where to have taken that. Are you going to do one chip coding challenge? Is there actually a challenge that exists for this, or are you making it up where I do the one chip challenge and then try to write code or shrink? Because no, I will not do that. um, Favorite JavaScript framework? There's actually like a couple of answers to this. I probably think the thing I enjoy using the most is Svelte. That's probably the thing that I enjoy using the most. React slash specifically Next.js, I think is still so good and a leader in a lot of ways, and even a leader in a weird way of like adapting things from like Remix and other things and kind of claiming it as their own, I think. But like still like it's been around for the meta frameworks, it's been around longer than a lot of them. It's more feature rich than a lot of them. And it continues to add a bunch of stuff and has a huge team behind it. So that's probably like the most powerful framework in my mind going forward. I also like Astro, depending on the type of site that you're doing. You can then use React Angular View, etc. Um, but Svelte is my favorite to use. React slash specifically Next.js, I think, is like kind of my default and the most powerful. Ryan, I self-taught SvelteKit. Your videos weren't out yet, fair enough, and built a full stack app that is now in production in self-taught Node Express TypeScript to build a backend, self-taught Vue, Next. Why should I stay in school and not go get a job right now? Uh, if you can get a job, go get a job. Because like the reality is, ends your education mostly matters the first job. Like having a degree is going to help you the most for your first job. After that, it's going to be based on your job experience for the most part. So like honestly, if you could go get a job now and you don't see the value of staying in school, I wouldn't stay in school. You could also go get a job and then like finish your education at night if you wanted to go ahead and make more money now and then finish to have a degree long term. So I would say if you can get away from it, do it. Like that's totally fine. Uh, Prometheus says that they are comfortable sharing. So this is the picture that they sent. So keyboard, Stream Deck over here, a couple of monitors, like speaker monitors, and then visual monitors, and then like a mixing thing. That's really cool. I assume this is some sort of mixer slash like monitoring thing because you get the headphones plugged into it. And then I'm not sure what the red thing is over here. I think we may. No, I think that's a different mouse, but I've got a similar type mouse that I like a lot. So that's cool. I really like that. It's like setup, even the foot pedals. Yeah. Oh, that's something I should add for streaming. Like that'd be really cool. Trying to get a social network web application similar to LinkedIn. I was planning on using Next.js. Do you have any pros and cons to using it? Trying to build a social network. Yeah, I like again, I think of the modern frameworks, I think it has the most capabilities is my personal opinion, and it's been around longer than several of the others, so I think it's good in that sense. It's got a great team behind it. What I don't quite know a whole lot is like building like a lot of people use Next.js as the front end of an application and still have a separate backend API like in Node or Ruby on Rails or like something else. And so I don't have really great answers to like, are there any performance implications of using or building APIs in Next.js that specifically need to be super, super highly available and performant? It's like deployed to serverless by default. I don't know if there's any like specific limitations to that at scale. I imagine you could do really well at that, but I've heard of a lot of companies, and maybe it's just because they had the APIs already existing that they didn't move everything away from it, but, like, having a separate, API project, like a full traditional backend API project. Which IT field is easy to pick and get a job between networking and web dev? I can't speak to networking. I really don't know anything about that. In my personal opinion, I think the web development route would be more fun and open up more types of opportunities, but I think that just depends on your interests. So I would let that be the gauge for you. I don't know why when I first started learning to code, I thought of Angular as the outdated framework. That was hard. Well, I think a lot of people would look at Angular as hard because it has a lot more built in, which is good and bad, than something like React. Like in Angular, you had to learn TypeScript, you had to learn decorators and modules and all these things that like you just didn't have to get started with React, although there are benefits to having that stuff in Angular. So I could totally see that. It's also like more traditionally stereotypically associated with bigger enterprise companies, which culturally you could think of as being older, like not outdated, but older to your point of interpreting that as outdated. So I think those are like understandable reactions to it without knowing a whole lot about it. Mage says they don't do social media. It saves up dwindling brain power. Totally fair. I like from an exposure standpoint and a networking standpoint, et cetera. Like I think getting involved in a Discord server then, if not a traditional social media account, I think would be very valuable. I'm a huge fan of like just the power of community and being a part of conversations that people are having. So any way that you can get involved in that, I think is a win. Canal asks, have I heard about Figma being acquired by Adobe? Yes, and I forget, like it was some ridiculous number, right? Oh, it was in the billions. Figma acquisition. Was it? I'm maybe making this up. Okay, $20 billion. I never would have imagined Figma was worth $20 billion. That seems wild to me. Be really interesting to see what happens to Figma after a while, after being acquired. Max got a bounce. See Mac. Which one has easy learning curve between computer networks and web dev? Fresher and get a job. Yeah, I can't answer that any more specifically. I don't think. I don't have any experience with like networking and like more traditional IT, so I can't help you there, unfortunately. This is an interesting question. What do you think you would be if you weren't a developer? I don't spend much time thinking about that. My like biggest passion and excitement, or one of the biggest passions and excitements is sports. So like maybe something to stay around sports, I think is definitely an option for what I may do. I don't even know like what sort of role that would be, but yeah, something sports related. I think I haven't thought a whole lot about that. How has felt course coming? Recent changes, great question. It's much slower than we thought. I'm like personally like just a little disappointed in it taking so long. Like it is what it is. But it's a very challenging thing to do, and we had done like the majority of our work in preparation for this leading up to significant changes in both Svelte and Superbase. So we're both working hard to record and release videos. We're also trying to stagger it, which is a little tough. So she's doing the majority of the kind of the first half, like first half versus second half type thing. It's not exactly like a down the middle, but like first half versus second half. So we've had a little bit of a difficulty with me being able to record content with her content not being all the way done yet, but like trying to continue to provide value for people because I know people have paid, they're waiting on videos to come out, etc. So we're working really hard at it. We definitely had like major setbacks with the changes to both SvelteKit and Superbase, but we're working really hard. I am proud of the progress that we have made, and I hope that we can continue to do that and provide the value for people that have paid and are considering paying for the course. Because I take that stuff very seriously, and I'm really excited to get that stuff in the hands of the people that are going to take it. So that's kind of where we are. I wonder if I can do this. My desk is like a little messier than it usually is right now. Let me see something really quickly though. Eh, This is like it's like not gonna work well at all, honestly. But let me see. If how do I change? I don't want to stop my camera. I want to change my camera. I don't even know where that setting is on here, to be honest. No, not that. Huh. I would have said, well, maybe I can't do this. I thought I would could choose a different camera, but now I don't actually see where those settings are when I'm live. I don't know. I guess we'll come back to that sometime. Sorry. Wonder if Figma has some good patents on their portfolio. They certainly might. That would make sense. Oh, keyboard. So I use the built-in keyboard on the MacBook. I'm not a keyboard person. I keep my MacBook open here. So I've got two monitors. I'm looking at the left monitor when I look this way, right monitor this way. Camera's right in the middle of the two. I've got a light up here, light over there, ring light here. So a few different things. I've got another camera on a little swivel tripod thing that I use mainly for. Didn't quite make it out here. There we go. So I use this for TikTok. So it's on a swivel, so I can do like different angles and stuff really easily. So I do that, which I'm really kind of proud of getting that set up because I think that's a lot of fun. So yeah, I just use the built-in Mac keyboard, and I know that's going to be a very disappointing answer, especially for people who care about keyboards. It's just never really been my thing. Saad, you've been an inspiration. One day I'll also have a channel just like you. I certainly hope so. First of all, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. That's the beauty for me of creating content is being able to help other people learn and then oh well it just fell. And then be able to do like if you have aspirations of being able to do content, like helping other people do that as well. So I would love nothing less than for you to go out and create your own very successful content. Adobe makes weird decisions for Figma. Will you try alternatives? I think the biggest thing is like if they end up charging, I'll definitely have to consider like whether or not it's worth paying for to continue. And I don't know the answer to that right now. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I thought TV actor. Oh, by the way, what's up, Zane? I think you said hi earlier. I'm not sure what you mean by TV actor. I've heard from people that there are a few different actors that they think I look like, if that's what you mean. So Zaid, Brad, and James T. Quick, great mentors. Thank you again. I appreciate that. I assume you mean Brad Traversy from the Traversy Media channel is probably who you're thinking of there. Obviously, he's got amazing stuff. So if you were going to start streaming today, would you use YouTube? And I think this is a first time chat from Richard. So Richard, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. It's good to meet you. If you have any details about yourself, actually, if anyone Actually, let's take a step. Everyone that's here, if you want to share, if you're comfortable, like what country you are, like what region of the world you're in, and maybe a one liner on your experience, like 10 years doing this, 5 years doing this, whatever. Any information that people are comfortable sharing, feel free because I love to get a decent idea about the people that are here. So, if you were going to start streaming today, would you choose YouTube? I am streaming. I'm looking to move more towards streaming on YouTube right now because I've got a bigger audience there. The discoverability on Twitch is a difficult thing to come by. Like, there's not a whole lot of discoverability. YouTube, there's more discoverability. I also have a big audience there. So that's the reason that I'm moving to potentially only do, I haven't decided on this, but potentially only do streams to YouTube and not Twitch. Although it doesn't, like with StreamYard, it's easy to do Twitch also. So I like that too. So we'll see. But the thing I do like the interactions in Twitch. I think Twitch is definitely built more to be the interactive streaming thing that you would typically associate with streams. So I think there are some benefits that I think YouTube is also good. The biggest thing that I recommend to people from a content perspective is not to divide their time and energy and efforts too much. What I mean is, like, if you start with YouTube, stick with YouTube until you get really good and consistent with that, and then branch out when you can, but don't sacrifice consistency on one platform to try another. You always have to have the consistency on one. This is funny. Kunal, that Heroku's doing the RM-RF for people here. Don't run that in your command line. That's remove all your files without asking. If you confirm, it just force deletes them. So don't do that. But Heroku is getting rid of the free tier. Yes, it sucks. I'm actually curious if anybody has any favorite node hosting alternatives. I'd love to see that. I have the Learn Build Teach Discord bot is still hosted in Heroku, but I was paying for it anyway. So it's just staying there for now. Sebastian, hola, hello, buongiorno. I think Spanish, English, Italian, yes. Bhavesh, best freelancing advice? I think it's hard to find clients. This is one of the first questions that people have. So to find clients, I think it's easier if you have a couple of projects. So I would try to take on a couple of free smaller projects that you can use to have a portfolio that you can then use to pitch people on, like, here's something I've built and here's the value that it provided these companies. And this is why you might be interested in that. And then you can go around to like local businesses and friends and all that and ask if they're looking for any sort of web projects. I think one of the biggest things is, like, if you want to be known for something, you have to tell people that's what you do. So, like, for me, one of the things I want to do more next year is build up a higher profile as a speaker, and specifically with keynotes. So that's my responsibility to go and communicate that to people and show up in places as a speaker and talk about myself as a speaker. So if you want to do freelance and you're like, networking or at a meetup or whatever, people ask you what you do, tell them that you do freelance stuff. The more you talk about that to let people know, the more they will have you top of mind, ideally, when the topic comes up of looking for someone. Sebastian Perez is from Argentina. Bueno, mucho gusto. Gracias por venir. I actually learned Spanish from, I ended up double majoring in college, but learned Spanish from a friend and his family from Argentina. So I have like specific accent from Argentina that like is kind of interesting. So anyway, mucho gusto. What's a better CRUD app beginner should build except for the good old To-Do app? So here's an interesting hot take. To-Do app is the hands down the number one thing that learners should build. Depending on how far you take it, To-Do apps teach you every single thing you need to know about building full stack applications. Because everything really comes down to a CRUD application. You need to be able to create data, you need to be able to read, update, and delete data. You need to have a UI to do that, and you need to have a database to save it. You need to have API endpoints to do those interactions, and you can do all of that with a To-Do app. If you think about, like, if you take this to the extreme, you build a basic To-Do app that then you add authentication, then you add like the to-dos are associated with a user. So I have my own to-do list. Then you add a to-do list that users can share between the two of them. And now this is getting like real world applications, even though it's just a to-do app. So in my opinion, like, to-do apps teach you everything you need to know if you build out some of the deeper features that you could. And it doesn't matter, like, the topic. Every CRUD app is basically a variation of To-Do app. Basically, like, you could do it for saving books that you read versus to-dos. It's the same thing. It's just a different topic. So CRUD application, I like. To-Do app is a starter. Caveat that to anything that you find interesting or whatever. But those fundamentals of how CRUD applications work are not going to change. From India, a teenager wants to be a full stack developer. I've been learning to code for the last 4 to 5 years and am a FOSS supporter. Very cool. And I didn't. So Sebastian, more than 15 years in PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's a long time. That's longer than me. Richard, in Houston, 19-year agency dev, mostly generalist dev, like that. Awesome. Here's a fun question. Do you use GitHub Copilot when you work? Just started testing it. I actually don't. And it's not because I don't think GitHub Copilot is amazing, because I actually think Copilot is like 100 times more powerful and amazing than I thought it would be. The problem is, as a content creator, and specifically with video tutorials, it's really inconvenient to have GitHub Copilot while I'm recording tutorials, because I feel like I can't teach the things that build up to what the solution is. So if I start to type something and GitHub Copilot throws in the final result, it doesn't give me the opportunity as a teacher to actually teach that thing. It's just there. So I don't use it because I end up spending so much of my time recording content. I don't want to like toggle it on and off when I'm recording. So I don't, but it's not because I don't think it's amazing. Railway for hosting instead of Heroku. Cool. Yeah, Railway and Render and a few other are some good ones that I've heard. I haven't used them myself. Find clients, keeping clients happy is hard. Delivering consistency, that's the issue. I think consistency is the biggest thing with everywhere. It's the number one thing I talk about with content is staying consistent with what you create and putting stuff out there for people to see. That's always gonna be one of the hardest things. Render.com as an alternative for Roku. Yeah, I'm with you there. Vercel is made by an Argentinian, Guillermo Rausch. Yes, it's very true. Also, the two co-founders of Auth0, where I worked for a while, are from Argentina as well. And I was disappointed I didn't get to go to the Auth0 office in Buenos Aires while I was there. I would have loved to do that. Code Fellowship mentioned Railway app again. Yep. So Railway and what did we just say? Render are the two that have popped up so far here. On the DX, better suited for another stream. Yeah, super cool that you've got that, and I appreciate you asking. I don't know if I'll have time, to be quite honest. And this is like a really, really big struggle for me because I look at like the cool thing about having an audience on different platforms is the ability, and I talked about this in my talk the other day, the ability to teach and influence, hopefully in a positive way, people all across the world. The problem with that at scale is like individually, I can't do the things that I would like to at times. And I don't know. I can never do as many things as I would like to. And I also then realistically have gotten to the point where I'm like telling myself, you have to say no to more stuff more often because of just not having enough time in the day. So feel free to send it to me in a DM somewhere, maybe, and I'll take a look if I can. But I can't promise anything, unfortunately. Viking, did you scrap the Svelte course? No, that is actively in being worked on. Links for courses are broken. Can you share what links are broken? Because they shouldn't be. And if they are, then I will go and check that out. So, Chilaxathor, what's up? Chilaxathor, I always love that name. David's in North Georgia, just starting to learn JavaScript. Social tool for tracking personal goals amongst other features and build games. I think that's great. Super cool. Hack the Coding, what's up? Welcome. One problem with Railway, major turnoff for students, is that you only get 500 hours of free hosting per month and just like free trial every 3 weeks. Oh, interesting. So I don't know about that. That'll be something to look into. Mage is in the UK. I'll actually be in London in a couple of weeks, but you're in Birmingham. Started learning programming in 1978. 80s with C, doing Sonar, and wow, that's some intense stuff. And then last 10 years, contracting full stack e-commerce. That's really cool too. Argentinian accent is rare. It's not a real world Spanish to learn. Central American, some countries from North and South have a very formal. Yeah, it is different. And I actually was in an interesting spot taking Spanish through high school and then majoring in college, of having to differentiate between what I would say in Argentinian Spanish versus what would actually be acceptable on a test. Because like the los mandatos, the commands in Argentinian Spanish are different than what you would learn in a classroom. And then some of the conjugations for things are different also. So CRUD is always the same. It depends more about the UI that you build. Yeah. I mean, the fundamentals of a CRUD application, that's why it doesn't really matter what the topic is. It's all similar stuff behind the scenes. Railways like Vercel, a great interface, and free tier. Reason I like it. Fair enough. Really good alternative. I thought it had a free tier like Netlify. It was just a month free trial, but if you have no problem with paying, it's a great one. Interesting. What resources do you use for getting up to date with new things in tech? This is fun. So one, I mentioned this earlier. Let me go back and share this. Oh no, actually share here. So I have the Daily.dev extension inside of my browser. They've been a sponsor of the podcast, but I've been a big fan of them. Amy and I have used the extension for a long time, and they just went live on Product Hunt. So actually, if I can ask you out of support to go and upvote this, or at least give it a try, and then if you enjoy it, upvote it. I think you should, cause it is really good. Is this the actual? Where's the actual upvoting? Am I missing something? Or did I send the wrong thing? Oh, there we go. Oh, so this was okay. Got it. So we want wait one day ago. This one, sorry. So do this. Try it out. If you enjoy it, make sure to upvote. I haven't done this, but I should go ahead and do it. Been using this for many months now and love it every single day. So excited for the team at Daily.dev. Yeah, go and show them some support. They are great. So I do that. I watch YouTube videos, although not as many as I used to. I also listen to podcasts. I also have a podcast. Also, creating content is a way for me to stay up to date with stuff. For example, people ask me about Next.js 13. If I go and create a video on Next.js 13, that means I'm going to have to learn more about Next.js 13. I'm on Twitter a lot. I'm in Discord, etc. So there's lots of stuff there. Some time ago, I mentioned render was slow deploying. Maybe, yeah, I was trying render for the LBT bot, and I think there may have been something was misconfigured. I don't really know, to be honest. But it was, I had some struggles, and I don't know if that was just me or what. So just joined, might be answered before. What is your current favorite stack? What's up, Ishmael? Current favorite stack. Let's see. Next.js, I think it's hard to beat for me. I also love SvelteKit. We talked about that earlier. Depending on what we're building, like SvelteKit and Superbase is a pretty cool combination. That's what the Everything Svelte course is. Also, did someone respond back with if any of those links were broken for that? Because if so, I definitely need to know them. But yeah, so Next.js is definitely one. Prisma as an ORM for database is great. SvelteKit, Superbase is also a great combination. Zeta is a database, serverless database that just launched that people should check out as well. Let me, Zeta, is it zeta.com or IO? Maybe zeta.io. Go and get that link. Yeah, zeta.io. Get that in here. It's kind of the combination of everything I've ever wanted in a database, to be quite honest. It has a visual thing like Airtable, but the thing with Airtable that kind of I struggled with was it wasn't it didn't have a great like it had its own query syntax, which was always confusing and very poorly documented. So this one is gonna be it's Postgres underneath the hood. It's serverless. It has branching. It has the visual aspect. You can build the models visually. It's like real. I'm super excited about this, and I'll have content on Zeta. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, go and follow me on YouTube. And then oh shit, I didn't upvote that one. Dang. But go and check out Zeta as well and support them. Yeah, there's a few things. Imperium, live in New York, making a game dev channel to break down games and using that experience to make my own games. Can I have 5 different stories? Analysis, understanding why tutorial, showing off final project, etc. That's exciting. That's really cool. Imperium, feel free to throw in your throw a link to your YouTube if you have it handy for other people to check out. I think that's really cool. Drool is, I think, or Dole, excuse me, not Drool. I think it said you're a first time chatter. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. What's up? Love from the Netherlands. Amazing. Nice to have you here. Stefan Rose. What's up? Thanks for coming in. For people that are joining, you're joining in the bathtub. That's amazing. So I posted this sorry, I removed myself on accident. So I posted a tweet, which is like me being weird / semi funny about like after the conference I was at, I went back to the hotel and took my pants and shoes off and laid down in the bed eating a chocolate chip cookie, which like people laughed at. So that reminds me of the same idea of like joining in from something from the bathtub. Yeah, Code Fellowship, Daily.dev, Chrome extension, life changing. Absolutely. Yep. Was I introverted or extroverted in school? I was definitely an extrovert. I have my moments of being introverted where I can, I just kind of need some time alone, but I get a lot of energy from being around other people, especially the right group of people. I can get exhausted being around the wrong group of people, but being around people that I enjoy, that I can learn from, etc., like I was at this conference a few days ago, is amazing. Did I skip your question? If I did, I don't think I did it on purpose. Let's see. No problem if I can't share, just making sure you skipped on purpose. Paolo, will you add it again? Will you, because unless I see it, if I scroll back. Okay, it must have been semi far back. Will you just add that question again and I'll try to answer it? I don't think I skipped it on purpose. Sebastian, thanks for learning Spanish. Many U.S. citizens don't like learn a new language. That is true. I'm obsessed with languages, actually. So I'm actually reading a book series, one of my favorite book series, again now in Spanish. So I'm on book 2 now. I just finished book 1. They're long. They're like 700 pages a piece. So that's great. And then I'm also learning Spanish, or excuse me, French every day with Duolingo. So I enjoy that a lot too. Dual Joker, I installed it and just about open it every time I'm bored. Is that the Daily.dev extension? Because that's such a good example of that. Like you get bored and go look there for inspiration. Great one. Love keeping up to date when I can't even code for weeks. 100%. Yeah. Code fellowship. Zeta looks awesome. Some of the things I wish I had, and I think they're different audiences, but some of the things I wish I had with Planet Scale, this has now. Like I think it's really, really cool. So Sebastian, you Strappy found it interesting for fast landing pages and small 1 to 2 week promos. Um, so I haven't used Strappy. I've heard really good things. It is like a headless CMS that is self-hosted. So open source headless CMS, built-in Node, I believe, and so you can download the code and self-host it, etc. I haven't used it, but I've heard really good things. So get a tutorial on a SMTP server locally and send an email. I've been struggling with it for a while. Max, will you send a message in Discord with maybe what some of the specific struggles are? Um, I don't know if you mean like setting up an SMTP server like yourself locally. I've never done that, I don't think. But I'd love to hear more about what you're struggling with there. So you can feel free to put that um, in Discord. Looks like you had a blast at the conference. How did your talk go? I I have never been more excited about a talk that I've given ever than that talk. And I don't know. I felt really, really good about that talk. One of the biggest things was Kim Maida, who is one of my favorite um, people in DevRel and speakers, et cetera. Let me grab um, her Twitter. She had some like really, really, really positive feedback. And I think to get really positive feedback from people who you have a lot of respect for goes a long way. And it was like, it was really personal for me. It was talking about my journey and the impact of content creation on my career. And that I don't know. It was really special for me. I loved it. I had a blast and I think it went really well from my perspective. I'm hoping that's the kind of topic also I think that's going to open me up for more keynote opportunities for conferences. So I'm hoping that's going to be kind of like a kicking off point for other conferences to see that as a talk that can have a lot of value for a lot of people. So we'll see. Paulo, yes, I actually did respond to this. And I talked about the debate I have of like I just don't have enough time to do all the things individually that I want to. And one of the things I'm having to aggressively work on is saying no to stuff. So if you send me a link to this, I will try. I can't promise anything, unfortunately. But if later on you wanted to send it to me, I'll try to take a look and see. You're looking at old videos on YouTube. Yes, I did C# when I was at Microsoft. Those are the first couple. There was like the first handful of videos I did were video game development with Construct 2, and then a handful with C#. It's been a long time. So Fearless is doing Italian and Portuguese on Duolingo when you get the time. Nice. From Twitchland. Try to use some third-party app like Mailgun, SendGrid, which is what I've done. Yeah, that's better. More tutorials. Sebastian, I'm 100% JavaScript. I nunca he usado PHP. I don't think I've ever used PHP. I went through like some tutorial or some WordPress stuff for a little while of like being interested on how WordPress was built behind the scenes, but I don't think I've ever actually used PHP. So be in mind, very cool. Good feedback is so valuable. Yeah, it made my day. Sadly, Mailgun is not free anymore for domains. There are some tutorials how to set it up, how to set up STMP. So SendGrid, for what it's worth, I have used I actually use SendGrid for my personal contact form, which I don't think is. I think it's not on my website anymore. After I moved to what is it called? Astro. So I like got rid of a bunch of stuff on my website so that I could go ahead and ship it, and then I haven't gone back and re-added missing features. Maybe one day. I did some Cold Fusion. I've never done anything with Cold Fusion. I've heard about it though. Pavi's working with Flutter and loves it. I've heard good things about Flutter. I also am really interested, and this is partially because I've got friends that work there. Mike Hardington and then a few other people, but I see him a lot. Works for Ionic, which allows you to do cross-platform mobile apps with JavaScript, and so you can use like any framework and things that you want to. So that's pretty cool. And then I've heard good things about Flutter too. So yeah. Any last second questions? We're over an hour, so I'm going to call it in a second and get off here in a second. But if you have a last second question, I'll do a few more minutes. I actually like these like Q&A type things. I think it's a lot of fun. Dun, dun, dun. Broken links. What about the front end drive on the last few days? I don't even like I don't even know which drama are we talking about? Because I don't even know. I may or may not know what we're talking about. We mentioned the Twitter firings earlier for a second, which is terrible. Viking, yeah, did someone get me broken links? Like, where are you finding links to everything's felt that are broken? 'Cause the homepage is still working. If you have any broken links for anything, everything's felt, please send me a DM with them. Advice for someone deciding which framework learn to be used in web development 2022. Like, it doesn't matter a lot of times. I would say I would recommend React. That's what I would recommend, is doing React. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I don't think you can go wrong with Vue or Angular, etc. I think React is going to have the most content. It's going to have the most jobs. And then after learning React, you can go and learn any other framework that you want as well. From my YouTube, so you got a link to click on courses in your description or bio. Okay, so here's the Everything's Felt page, by the way. And you're saying from my YouTube? Like let's see, click on courses in your description. Oh, wait, really? I like that YouTube did the now border radius on their thumbnails. I think that's nice. So if I go into, please tell me I didn't actually under click about. Where is about last link? 4 chapters. Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot I had that there. Good point. Okay, thank you for calling that out. So I mentioned earlier that I migrated my website to Astro, and I haven't migrated all of the features of my site over. And that is one of the pages that I didn't migrate over. So that's interesting. I will, yeah, it's not good. That's something I need to get up to date. Oh, hey, look, here's my dashboard, by the way, if y'all are curious about what YouTube dashboards look like. This actually ended up doing well, which is cool. I just posted this. You should go and watch it. I think it's funny. But in my settings, I don't think you'll see anything like super private in here. Under channel upload defaults. Maybe not. No, upload defaults here. So right now, rats, that sucks. I need to get that page open or up. So that's a great call out. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I'm glad this ended up doing well. That's cool. I wonder. It wasn't doing as well like right after I published it. So you see the spike here, and then it leveled out again. It's kind of interesting. Algorithm is so wild. Um, but yeah, see that huge spike and then it kind of levels out. So we'll see where that goes from there. But thank you for calling that. I wouldn't have thought about that. I forgot about having that link. And that's something I need to spend some time working on. I actually need to spend a lot more time working on that sort of stuff. Um, what is advice for someone? Yeah, I think if you don't care, start with React. If you want to start with Angular, Svelte, Vue, I do that. Like if that's what you want to do. But if you're looking for an opinion that's easy, just start with React. If you're into C Sharp, I think you should try Maui. I tried it, love it, especially better than React Native. I don't do anything C Sharp anymore, so that won't be on my radar. What's up, Faison? Actually, I'm about to call it. So we're kind of at the end here. We're a little bit over the hour. This has been fun though. If you'd like, I don't know. I want to do everything. I want like every type of stream. So usually this is the time that we do our live episode of Compressed FM, and those are a ton of fun. And also, I have a million other ideas. If there's anything you'd like to see, if you have ideas for stuff, I can't guarantee I can do it because I have never enough time to do half the things I want to do. But if you have ideas for cool stuff that would be beneficial, that you think would be beneficial for the community, specifically on YouTube and Twitch, let me know if you have ideas. But thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. On the Twitch side, I'm going to raid everyone over to Clarkio. Timing wise, this always works out because he streams at 12 and I start at 11 and I finish at 12. So I'm going to send everybody there. But I really appreciate everyone hanging out, asking questions. This is a ton of fun for me, and I like to be able to interact with people on the stream. So thanks for participating, asking questions, all the things. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you later.